Hello, lovelies, and welcome to the Peacock Homestead. My name is Elizabeth from thepeacockhomestead.com. Today we are going to be making cranberry sauce, but first we are going to be making some amazing sourdough discard Pop-Tarts. And my recipe is on my blog. You can use any kind of jam you like. And today I'm going to be using a half pint of blueberry jam that I made last year. That turned out super good, and I'm so sad, but this is my last jar. I'll have to make some more soon. So what I'm doing here is I rolled out the dough, and I am putting about a tablespoon of jam on each of these Pop-Tarts. And in the recipe makes around 8 Pop-Tarts. So I rolled the dough out as thin as I could, but it ends up being a beautiful thick Pop-Tart, but not too thick. And then I take a little bit of milk and I just brush the edges with my finger, and then I crimp it together with a fork so none of that beautiful jam pours out. When I get these all crimped up and ready to go in the oven, my oven's going to be preheated at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to cook these for around 30 minutes or until golden brown. And then we're going to frost these, and I'm going to show you how to make my glaze that goes on top. This dough is also wonderful for freezing. You can pop it in your freezer and take it out whenever you want it, when you're craving a sweet treat. And then you can also make it into a savory Pop-Tart with cheese and sausage, and that would be so amazing to have little savory Pop-Tarts just for breakfast or snacks. But I use it mostly for jams and jellies. So far I've made raspberry Pop-Tarts, and I made strawberry and blueberry Pop-Tarts. So then my next thing that I would want to make would be apple Pop-Tarts and peach Pop-Tarts. So I will hopefully get to show you guys that. But in my next video, I'll be showing you how to make my Yule Christmas jam. And that was really fun to make. So I used cranberries, raspberries, and blueberries, and it turned out wonderful. And on this day too, I'm also roasting up my last pumpkin, and that's going to go in the freezer for dog treats. And then I use it sometimes to thicken up my soups, and I make muffins and sweetbreads with it. So I'm super excited to have this in my freezer, and thank goodness that's my last pumpkin, because those pumpkins kept looking at me like, do something with me or I'm gonna rot. But this is the Pop-Tarts all baked, and aren't they so pretty? I'm super excited to get the glaze on these and get them in my belly. So we're gonna get the glaze ready. I'm gonna take about a cup of confectioner's sugar and some of my home canned milk. After I pop it open, I put it in the fridge, and I use it it's good in my fridge for about a week. But it doesn't last that long because I use it in my coffee as my creamer. But it's super helpful when using it for different recipes like this. And I use it on making mashed potatoes, pumpkin pies. It's like a homemade carnation evaporated milk. So I usually do 1 gallon of milk in my pressure cooker, my pressure canner, and then I do up a batch of 8, and it lasts me for about a week and a half. But I added about a tablespoon or a teaspoon of my evaporated milk, homemade evaporated milk, to the 1 cup of sugar, and it seemed like a pretty good consistency. And then we are going to glaze these and get them ready to eat. just going to get this pumpkin put away. I'm putting it right in the freezer so I can take it out for making snacks and dog treats. And I'm super psyched to have this in my freezer. I think I have a bunch now. I have plenty of pumpkin. I'm so glad that's the last one, but it'll be worth it. Sometimes it gets repetitive, but it's worth it in the end for all the things that you prepare and get ready for the winter. So I'm super excited to show you my cranberry sauce recipe. I got it out of the Blue Ball Book of Preserving, and it's on page 21. And we are going to be making 10.5 pints. And I used 5 pounds of cranberries. I got it in the freezer section because I did the math on it, and it was cheaper to buy frozen cranberries than the fresh. I saved around $10 to $14 doing it from scratch, and that's not including the jar. So I got this idea from Jessica at the Three Rivers Homestead, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about making cranberry sauce. So I'm excited to make that. And I seen that she put oranges in it. So for each pound, I put 1 little baby orange. And thank you so much for that idea, Jessica. Thank you for the inspiration, of course. So I'm just using the cranberry sauce gelled recipe, and I'm going to quadruple it. I'm going to be using 7.5 cups of water, 5 pounds of cranberries, 8 cups of sugar, and 5 little baby oranges. So I'm going to get that right on the stove as soon as I fill this up, and I decided to switch pans because I'm always filling my pots way fuller than they're supposed to be. Have you guys ever done that? Filled your stock pot so full that you have to switch it? I do that a lot. I find myself doing that constantly and push my limits. But this looks so beautiful. I wish it could stay some of the orange color and the red, but it turned out a beautiful dark red. And that inspired me that day to paint my nails that color. After this video, of course. Now I'm adding the 7.5 cups of water. And after I start getting it all cooked up, I'm going to zip it up with my stick blender. And then I'm going to add 8 cups of sugar. And that's going to help it gel up into a nice, beautiful cranberry sauce. So I'm going to make sure to turn this up. I'm turning it up a little above the medium mark so I don't burn the bottom. But that's when I switched my stock pot. I used my big old steam canner, and it was the perfect size. Definitely not overflowing in this one, but I'm going to make sure to get it to a rolling boil. I'm going to stick blender all these beautiful cranberries and the 5 little baby oranges, and then we are going to add that sugar and then boil it for an additional 10 to 15 minutes. So what I did is I boiled it actually until it was thick. I did the freezer test like you do any jams or jellies. So the time might vary in the consistency for your area. So I would say about 10 to 15, maybe a little bit more time. But if you do the freezer test, that'll never fail you. And then you'll have a beautiful consistency of that cranberry sauce that you see at the store. And you'll know what's going in it, those very few ingredients, and you made it yourself, so you'll feel very well about knowing what's going in your body. And then here is the fun part. We are going to can this all up. And I got a couple more than I was going to fill, so I got 10 pints and I got a half of a pint. So I got like 1/2 extra just for testing, which was perfect because we had it with our dinner. We had a pork chop with some mashed potatoes, and I marinated the pork chop in herbs de Provence, and I used about a cup of Italian dressing for the marinade. So that turned out beautiful. And of course, we had collard greens on the side. And I've been on a taco seasoning kick. I got this awesome taco seasoning, and I've been using it for my sourdough discard crackers and our collard greens, and I've been spicing up all of our meats. It has been so yummy. So I got a pound of it a while ago, and I haven't been using it. And we ran out of all of our other spices from doing all that beautiful tomato sauce. So I decided that let's try to use this. It's in my cabinet, so let's try it out. And it's been working for a lot of dishes, so I'm super psyched about that. So I'm filling up my jars, and then we are going to process these in my steam canner for 15 to 20 minutes. So I usually go a little bit longer just because I'm using the cold lids. I don't like boiling my lids in water like some people do. So I do it a little extra so it has a nice seal. And I got a good seal right. Every jar sealed in this eventful canning process. Thanks to my 4 jars lids, of course. So I was going to ask you guys, what is the one thing that you always forget for Thanksgiving dinner and have to go to the store at the last minute for? For me, it is cranberry sauce. I always find myself going and getting cranberry sauce or stuffing. I always have everything else, and this year it is not going to happen. I'm going to have some of this cranberry sauce on my shelf for Thanksgiving and Christmas and whatever holiday or any day of the week that I want it for. So that is exciting, and it is so beautiful. Look at that burgundy color. So you can use this for Christmas presents. You can give them as gifts for birthdays. People love homemade gifts like this, and it looks beautiful and it tastes wonderful, and it's homemade from your heart. those pork chops that we're having. I usually cook all of my meat on cast iron, so it gives it a nice crisp like that. I got my mashed potatoes in the back, and then we're going to pair it with a beautiful cranberry sauce and some collard greens that I added the taco seasoning to, a little butter and a little salt and pepper, and it was amazing. And I just wanted to thank all of you for watching, and I want to thank all of my subscribers, and I am very thankful for all of you. Many blessings, and I will see you on the next video.